Charles, your Cincinnati Bengals, they're going a little bit of drama right now, man. And rookie, the first round rookie that you guys drafted, Shemar. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. So if you want, correct
Yeah,
me.
yeah, Shemar Stewart.
Shamar
There you go.
Stewart. Shamar Stewart, first round draft pick by the Cincinnati Bengals, is considering holding out because the Bengals and him can't come to a contract agreement. He can ultimately opt out of his contract, sit for the entire 2025 season, and then re-enter into the 2026 NFL draft. You're a big time Cincinnati Bengals fan, so for sure, I know you got some mixed feelings about this. Let the world know, baby.
Yeah, definitely, of course, right? Because as a Bengals fan, and that's not really a team a lot of people hype up or cheer for. So a lot of people asking me about it. Definitely one of those situations where you look at it immediately and you want to blame the player, right? You're a rookie, just signed a deal. It's the same deal everybody else is getting. I see the money. That's the information that was out there initially for Shemar Stewart, his contract financial situation, and that looks up to par. And he's mentioning, okay, well, I want my contract to look a lot like recent rookies, not just Bengals rookies, but other rookies, but primarily Bengals rookies like in the past few years, Sims, guys like that. Um, most of which were defensive players as well. And it's interesting, that's the initial reaction. Now, as a Bengals fan, and if you look at other former players for the Bengals that are perceived as fans now at this point, and on their perspective, guys like Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco, whatever, right? Pac-Man Jones, talking about on their shows, even a little TO. The Bengals are cheap, and we know they've always been cheap, but from the beginning of this situation, it was just more about the numbers being out there. And that's all the information you had, and the numbers looked fine. So it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm pro team on this. If this guy's just complaining about wanting to get paid more and he hasn't played yet, kind of like what we just mentioned the NBA situation later. Uh, what are you doing? Just sign the deal and prove your stuff and get your money later. But obviously, there's more to it. Other terms that they're looking at, they want to change. The Bengals trying to add in clauses that deny some of his guaranteed money if he weren't to play or if other things were to happen in the future years. And that's kind of the main issue with the contract overall. He's not just complaining that he's not getting financially valued correctly. He's complaining that these extra clauses could put him in a situation where if he were to miss time in the future, next 2-3 years, while under that rookie deal, that he would lose all that guaranteed money that comes with that deal. Now, again, as a Bengals fan, I know we're cheap. I know we don't sign. I know we don't do that. And I know that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, obviously the Hendrickson situation, like maybe not Henderson so much, but the rest of the deals just got done and the money's there. So it's kind of like, okay, maybe they're not so cheap anymore, right? But aside from the Hendrickson situation, which is a whole other thing altogether, but it's not so much just the Bengals thing. Other teams like Seattle, Arizona have done this as well. And I think it's just like a new wave of clause that teams are trying to, initiate there to get away from, okay, you got these rookies that show up, they get hurt, they miss most of the year, they start the next year, maybe they're hurt again, or they're missing time, or they're not showing up to practice, or whatever it may be. There's been a lot of 2-3 year players that have not played on the field and not kind of presented in value, but they're getting guaranteed money. Now, obviously, it's rookie deals and not a huge amount of money, but it does add up, and it could really sway what you do with the rest of your roster. So I get it. It just is perceived as cheap because it is a newer thing, and the Bengals are kind of on the front of the camera. They're the team that's kind of being the first to be shown doing it, even if they aren't. Technically, it's already been done, but they're getting all the notice, so it makes them look bad. I guess if I had to choose a side, I get it from the Bengals. However, just get the deal done. You drafted the guy early. Obviously, it's not as this is a 6th-round pick or something crazy like that. At the end, this is your top pick. Just get the deal done. It's not that much money. It's not a big deal to just play it the right way. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins behind the scenes have also said quietly that the Bengals tried to do the same thing with them, and they were like, we ain't having it. And because of their star value, it didn't happen, period. Now, I know this is not the same level of star or notoriety, but just get this over with. We can't keep having all seasons with issues. We already have the Hendrickson problem, and we just got rid of Pratt so that we can make more space. Just finish it, get it done. Don't want to see this guy go back in the draft, miss a year, or even if he tries to go back to college. Either way, he'd get back in the draft, and we couldn't get him legally again anyway. Just finish the deal.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like these owners, right? If you really put it in perspective, these owners that have these teams and all they really do is have this play money and want to spend it on just having some entertainment for themselves and for their families and for their friends to say, oh, I own this team and this and that, right? I'm not going to say all owners, but a lot of the owners really just use this as like a game. They just have a team as a game and they enjoy it, right? And if you want to win, if you're an owner that wants to win, you need to pay your players. It's as simple as that. But sometimes some owners get too into their heads, and GMs, they want to do what's best for the team, and they want to bring in some other players that maybe can put as much effort and value as some certain players. But when you really think about it, it's not really like that, right? And when Shamir said it best here, right? I'm 100% right. It's a no brainer. In Trey's case, it should be a no brainer too. Y'all Bengals just want to win arguments more than winning games, in my opinion. And over the last few years, I feel like it has been like that. You've seen it with Jamar Chase. You've seen it with T. Higgins. Now you're seeing it with Trey Henderson. And now you're seeing it with their first round pick, who's supposed to be an impactful player on defense, which the Cincinnati Bengals desperately need. I mean, it can't just be scoring touchdowns and trying to match with another team, because when you get either to the wild card round or to the first round of the playoffs, that's not going to get you further than that. I mean, we saw it in the beginning of the season with the Cincinnati Bengals. They were one of the worst teams in the league. Then they started picking it up on offense, but the defense didn't even get to the same level as them. So they ended up with a bad record. They didn't get into the playoffs, and it is what it is. But going off of this here on this quote of what Stewart has said, how do you feel about that when it comes to the Bengals just want to win arguments more than win games?
I can hear that, especially from a guy coming out looking in. He hasn't played for the team, hasn't played in the league, so definitely understand his statement there. In comparison to the Jamar Chase thing, things like that, I think the weird spot for the Bengals is that they can make a case in each of these dealings. Look at Jamar Chase; he was trying to get paid too early, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. He's one of the best receivers in the league. You can argue on any day he could be the best receiver in the league at any moment. So I get it. But again, typically you don't get a contract done 2 years left on your rookie deal. That's just not something that happens. That's unprecedented, not unwarranted, but still, I can see the Bengals' point of view. You look at T. Higgins. We don't really have the money to sign a second big money receiver when we had just paid Burrow, or now obviously the Jamar Chase deal, coupled with a whole bunch of other guys that need to get paid because we have no defense, right? Trying to clear some cap space. Hendrickson leading the league in sacks. You got to pay him as well. So you just keep running with the tag on Higgins. I get that too. Get Higgins' point, but I see the point the Bengals make. Hendrickson quickly. We're the worst defense in the league. I'm not saying statistically we are, but just watching it, I've never seen a worse zone defense in my entire life of watching any football team ever than the Bengals were this past year. Yeah, we got hot on offense, almost made the playoffs anyway, one game away, but still fell short because that defense was just so bad. Now, that's with Hendrickson, with double teaming him, and he still led the league in sacks, which all the credit in the world to him. But how much money do you want to give to somebody on defense when even with him, you're still one of the worst defenses? You might have to let it go and spread the wealth and try to build a more balanced team and see what you can get with little bits of money rather than all in on one player after signing those other offensive players. So again, I get what the Bengals mean on that. However, like you said, it's all about winning. And at the end of the day, these players lead to winning, and Shemar Stewart's coming in to be a big impact defensive player. If you're not going to sign Hendrickson, why are you not also going to sign the guy that's essentially replacing him, even though they play a different position more or less? But still, that is your replacement Hendrickson, maybe in a year, even if you do hang on to Hendrickson for another year. So it's annoying. I hear his point. I don't like the overall point of view it kind of makes the Bengals look like, because that is their history, so it makes you double down on it. But I just want to see it get done. He is of value. I don't know what he'll end up being. A lot of Bama players haven't panned out for us, but still, I like to pick. I like to pick in the moment, and it's about time that we just get it done and see what we got here. Might hinder the Hendrickson thing, but Pratt's gone. The money's there. Just get it over with and stop with the games. We can't have another trouble all season.
I just think it comes down to being stingy, really, man. Because like I truly believe that, and you could rebuttal here or put in your thoughts, but I truly believe that these owners really have these teams just with their play money. It's just money that they have that they can spend and they don't have to worry about. It's just like if you got to compare it, right? When you're gambling, if you're a true gambler, that knows how to bankroll, a bankroll management, knows how to handle your money, right? You use money that you don't really care about, right? In a sense, that you don't really care about to gamble because you're not scared to lose it. And that's what I feel like owners are with NFL teams, or which is with professional teams in general, right? A lot of them really just are out there for the entertainment and this and that. And you hear it a lot when it comes across the NBA, even with the WNBA. Maybe NFL is a little bit more serious. And then you have some that are really trying to win. There's teams out there that are really trying to win year in and year out. And I feel like, the Bengals didn't really have that culture before when they first started up until maybe what, like a few years ago. Because I feel like even in the Andy Dalton era, I feel like they were just hanging on, doing
Yeah.
what they need to do to win games, but they weren't in the overall picture of trying to win a Super Bowl, trying to be the world champs.
Yeah, I hear that. And bottom three in attendance almost every not almost every single year during that era, not doing well financially, not spending the money. Carson Palmer, our best quarterback in team history before Burrow and Boomer, obviously, had a great time too. Didn't even want to be there. Said he didn't want to play for the Bengals anymore because they're too cheap. They're not willing to spend to win. And I think the problem there is, like you said, you don't gamble your rent money. But these are really millionaire, billionaire owners that have the money to just, not saying just throw it away. It is an investment,
Splurge.
and I get that
Mhm.
side of it. It's a fun investment, and they see other teams making money. But look at the teams who make money, the teams that win, the teams that invest in the team and win back. The Yankees became the Yankees because they reinvested over 90% of the money back into the team, got a station so that they can broadcast their own stuff and control that, make money back. Everything Steinbrenner was doing was putting back into the team, and it paid off handsomely. And you look at all these other teams that are selling off for crazy money nowadays, that you're like, man, that's not even a great team, and they're selling for crazy money. Imagine what a team that's winning will sell for. And it's just, I think that's the thing that gets lost on a lot of owners is they're afraid to spend now because they want to recoup that money so soon, or they're afraid to gamble it. But if you look at all the teams that spend and win, it turns into money. Just do it. You'll have fun winning, and you'll be making money in the meantime. Whole city of Denver, all those teams started paying off money suddenly because they were winning, you
Yeah.
know?
hmm
But
hmm
gee,
So we'll see what it ultimately comes down to. Like I like the Bengals. I love your guys' offense. I mean, Joe Burrow, I think he's top five quarterback right now. I think Jamar Chase is probably top two, maybe not even two, maybe one right now in the league. T. Higgins is maybe top 15 in my opinion. Your running back situation is good. I think Chase Brown is going to have a lot of workload this year. I think your offensive line still needs some work, but I think you guys are really putting your heads to that. So what you ultimately got to work on is the defense. And if you're not paying one of your top defensive players and the first round draft pick that you got in the draft, like you guys are just worried about the offensive side of the ball. And if you look at teams that have won Super Bowls last year, Philadelphia Eagles had one of the best defenses in the league and one of the best offenses in the league. What would happen for the Bengals? Well, if you get one of the best defenses in the league with one of the best offenses, maybe you could get a Super Bowl. But what do I
we're
know?
a top five. We're a top five defense during our stretch of being great. The year we went to the Super Bowl,
Yep.
but it was only all the eyes were on the offense, and you didn't think you needed that to get there
Mhm.
because the offense wanted so bad. But it's like you can't do it. You can get there. You can have the lead in the fourth quarter and have a BS penalty with on third, fourth down that
Yep.
costs you the game and not win the Super Bowl because you decide not to address the defense or the offensive line or the offense. Like you need every element to win it all. There's no teams winning Super Bowls that was like, man, but they didn't really have a good defense, or they didn't have any offense, or they didn't have any offensive line. They had no pass rush. They all have something in those spots, or they're amazing at something. And it's just the Bengals are leaning on the offense way too much.